They called her many names: a bandit, a criminal, a sinner. But for millions of the poor, she was something else entirely, a wounded soul who dared to fight back. This is the real story of Phoolan Devi, the Bandit Queen. A story filled with betrayal, conspiracies, revenge, and the eternal question: when justice is denied, what path remains? She was born into dust and hunger, in a tiny village where your birth decided your destiny. As a child, she learned early that the world was not fair. She was married off too young, her voice ignored, her dreams silenced. But fate had even darker plans. Again and again, powerful men mocked her, humiliated her, and reminded her that she was nothing. But inside her heart, a fire was being born, a fire that no humiliation could extinguish. One day, she was taken by a group of outlaws into the deep ravines of Chambal, a world of guns, shadows, and broken laws. At first, she was just another victim, tossed aside like she didn't matter. But in that dark world, something unexpected happened. She found someone who saw her pain, who gave her strength, who handed her a weapon not just of iron but of dignity. With his support, she learned to stand tall again. And soon, the victim began to transform into a leader. Phoolan became part of a feared gang, living in the hidden valleys, striking against the wealthy, and shocking entire villages with her courage. For the poor, she became a folk hero, a woman who dared to challenge those who had crushed her. For the rich and powerful, she was their nightmare. But revenge is never simple. It is born in whispers, fueled by conspiracies, and carried by the weight of old wounds. The turning point came in a village called Baimai, the same place where she had been insulted, broken, and left with scars that words cannot describe. One fateful day in 1981, Phoolan returned to that village. Eyewitnesses remember a silence before the storm. Men were dragged into the square. Then, gunfire shattered the air. When the dust cleared, more than 20 men lay dead. Some called it justice. Others called it cold-blooded murder. But one thing was certain: Phoolan Devi had taken her revenge. The news spread like wildfire. Overnight, she became a legend, and the most wanted woman in India. The police hunted her. Posters of her face were everywhere. But the ravines protected her like a mother hides her wounded child. For 2 years, she vanished into shadows. Yet shadows cannot last forever. Surrounded by pressure, betrayed by allies, and exhausted by years on the run, Phoolan finally surrendered in 1983. But her surrender was no ordinary moment. She stepped out in front of thousands, holding her head high, demanding promises from the government. She refused to be treated as a trophy. The people watching that day didn't just see a bandit giving up, they saw a woman who had bent the system to listen to her. But surrender was only the beginning of another war. Behind bars, she spent over a decade. Forgotten by many, remembered only as a myth. She struggled with illness, isolation, and the slow-moving wheels of justice. And then, destiny twisted again. Released after 11 long years, Phoolan walked into a new life. To everyone's shock, she entered politics. From the ravines to parliament, she rose as a symbol of power and survival. Crowds cheered for her. The same woman who had once been branded a criminal was now an elected leader. For many of the poor, she was living proof that the oppressed could rise higher than their oppressors. But the ghosts of the past never forget. On July 25, 2001, in New Delhi, as she returned home, assassins were waiting. In broad daylight, they struck. Bullets rained down. Phoolan Devi fell. The Bandit Queen was gone. The nation shook. Was it revenge for Baimai? Was it politics? Was it old conspiracies finally catching up to her? No one could agree. Her death left behind not just grief, but questions that will never be answered. Phoolan Devi's life is not a simple tale of right or wrong. It is a storm born of injustice, humiliation, betrayal, and courage. She was not a saint. She was not a monster. She was a mirror of a society that ignored the cries of the weak, until those cries turned into gunfire. And now, I ask you, when justice fails, is revenge the only path left? Or does revenge destroy both the victim and the guilty alike? Her story lives on, in books, in films, in whispers across villages, because it forces us to confront the hardest truth. If a child born in dust is denied dignity again and again, one day she may rise not with prayers, but with fire. This was the story of Phoolan Devi, the Bandit Queen, a story that still haunts, still inspires, and still warns us of what happens when justice is delayed. If this revenge story touched your heart, if it made you feel the pain, the anger, and the strength within it, then please don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to our channel. Your one click is not just support. It is the strength that allows us to bring you even more powerful, emotional, and unforgettable revenge stories from around the world. So, if you want to walk with us through more journeys of injustice, courage, and ultimate revenge, hit that subscribe button, because your support is the fire that keeps these stories alive.